Hello everybody, how are you doing? And I hope you're doing okay. Now, today we're doing Now 23, which came out in December or November 92, late 92. And we kick off with a song that you've maybe not heard for a while, but it's a really, really good song. Definitely file this one under an obscure classic. It did make number one, and it was very big at the time, but for some reason it's kind of fallen off the radar. It's Sleeping Satellite by Tasmin Archer. She's from around here, Bradford. And this song, yeah, it's kind of acousticy. It's got a kind of gently shuffling beat. Brilliant lyrics, brilliant vocals. All about science and maybe false ideas of progress and where we'd be and the promises that we thought we would be living in this utopian world. So it's very, very resonant. We'll follow this one up with Just Another Day, which was a big American hit, and it did well over here. John Cicada. It's kind of gospel-y. It's got the soul-to-soul beat. I'm not a terribly big fan of it. I think the choruses are good. It's just a bit kind of over-commercial. Now, another one that was, I guess, just as commercial, but maybe not over-commercial. What's the difference? That's a good question. What makes something over-commercial? Would I Lie to You, Charles and Eddie? I think this one was relatively raw. I think it basically sounded not that different from a band jamming in a room, and it was a nice kind of old soul tune. Well, it wasn't an old tune, it sounded like an old tune. It sounded kind of familiar, but I think it was an original. Yeah, pretty good actually, Charles and Eddie, Would I Lie to You? I'm going to now play another random combination of people. Is this the first was not was tune? Shake your head. And guess who this is featuring? Two people you would not expect to be on any tune, let alone a was not was tune. Kim Basinger and Ozzy Osbourne. Wow. How on earth did this come about? So, a bit of background on Was Not Was. They've been around all through the 80s. Pretty much a funk band. Two guys who weren't brothers, but is it Don Was and David Was, both producers for other bands and stuff. They had this kind of modern funk thing going on. They had two really good singers, and they'd had a good version of Papa Was a Rolling Stone, which is a bloody hard song to cover, and they did a really good job. This sees them in that kind of house vein. I'm sure it's just a remix. But the vocals, Ozzy Osbourne and Kim Basinger, those sort of nonsensy vocals, kind of novelty-ish, I guess, because of who it was. But it's it's pretty pumping tune. It's certainly the first and only time I've ever heard Ozzy Osbourne do anything like housey, let alone Kim Basinger. So very quirky. We follow this one up with Iron Lions Iron. Let's stick a bit of this on. This is now the second time Bob Marley has been on and out. Clearly both posthumously. This one was a kind of remix because the production was obviously added at the time. But yeah, still very rootsy. No, it's classic. This is what you need in your life right now. Why this was re-released or remixed, I don't particularly know. I don't know if it was for an album or anything. Oh, classic. Yeah, great stuff. Just classic, really. Iron Lions Iron, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Now, here's a band that I was really not expecting to see back again. It's Go West and Faithful. They've really not changed their sound since the mid-80s. They're one of those real 80s bands. Really kind of surprising to see them still going around in 92. But Faithful was actually a pretty good song. It's not very memorable and incredibly what you'd expect from a Go West single, but it worked. Now we follow this one up with George Michael and Too Funky, bit of a weird song. I think most of it was kind of ripped off other songs, but it sort of made it its own. Very kind of 90s pop funk. I think he'd taken synths from Jocelyn Brown, somebody else's guy. Not bad for George Michael tune. Follow that one up with Arrested Development, and we'll stick this one on, People Every Day. Arrested Development, they really came out of, well, I wouldn't say out of nowhere, I think they'd been bubbling around, but when they did make it, they really made it. They suddenly became very, very popular. This uses Sly and the Family Stone, Everyday People, chorus, lots of sort of, what do you call that? Blah, 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 not Shooby-Doing, random vocals. New kind of hip-hop. I guess it's kind of following on from stuff like De La Soul and PM Dawn. It's very conscious, it's very earthy. It's kind of a bit more rural sounding. I don't know where they're from, let me just check. Hip-hop was having a very good year in 92, although you wouldn't necessarily have known from the Now albums. Atlanta, yeah, so it's got a more kind of southern thing going on. Massive song this, 13 million views. It's not like uber massive, but it's still really good. And they had a few other really good tunes. We follow this one up with For Your Babies by Simply Red, another song from Star's album. I think it's the third song from that to make a Now. And this was a ballad. Yeah, you know, Stars was pretty good for Simply Red. And this song was quite a nice ballad. Liked it. We follow that up with first, is it the first Pure reissue? And we've had Iron Iron Zion. It's another old song. It's Irma Franklin, Take a Little Piece from My Heart. I'm pretty sure that was from Levi's advert. Classic soul song. Janis Joplin also did a version of it. And we follow that up with Too Much Love Will Kill You, Brian May. Bit of a drippy ballad. After Freddie's death, lots and lots of Queen-related stuff came out in 92. Some of it a bit kind of scraping a barrel. I'd like Driven by You. But Too Much Love Will Kill You. It's a bit maudlin, really. Alive and Kicking. I don't know if that's kind of a morbid joke. But Simple Minds. It's another re-release. And then, is this the first time a song's made its second appearance on a Now album? This was on Now 6, I think. I thought it was Mare then. I thought it's really Mare now. I mean, it's okay. It's quite anthemic. Why on earth that song was back now, God only knows. Right, another oldie but a goldie next. We'll stick a bit this one on. And again, why on earth this was on a Now album. But I'm really not complaining. We go bluesy now. And probably the most bluesy song ever to appear on a Now album. So far, so good. Boom, 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 boom. John Lee Hooker, eh? And, you know, it's these little random oddities that make these Nows interesting. I'm sure a lot of people are prejudiced against them, quite understandably so. But if you actually scrape beneath the surface and do a bit of critical thinking and do a bit of sort of mining, you will come out with 3 or 4, at least, classic songs. And certainly there's not been a single Now yet in all these videos where I've not found a good 5 classics. Just stick them all together and you build up a really good collection of music. This being a case in point. But Now That's Local Music being Now That's Local Music, after this, Jewel, you get something really, really nasty. I'm not going to play it. I'm really not going to play it. Let's just say, Don't Break My Heart, My Achy Breaky Heart. As if that song wasn't bad enough, it'd then go off and release Miley Cyrus onto the world. Billy Ray Cyrus. Yeah, I mean, certainly these last 2 songs obviously did well in the charts in 92. Blues and country, who'd have thunk it? And I really don't know what was going on in Britain to make people have an appetite for blues and country any more than normal, but not really complaining. Well, I am complaining about Boom Boom. I'm not complaining about Boom Boom Boom. I am complaining about Achy Breaky Heart. Because that was kind of gimmicky. I'm sure it's not that bad. It's just a song we all love to hate. We follow that up with more kind of retro rock from Too Much Too Young by the Little Angels. It's okay. It's a bit late 80s cock rocky. Surprised, you know, in this world of grunge that not a single Nirvana or Pearl Jam song's made a Now album, yet they've got room for the Little Angels. And they've also got room for Richard Marx, Take This Heart. Hazard was great. Take This Heart is decidedly ordinary. Sub Bryan Adams, it's okay if you like that kind of thing. Genesis, still going, although they're getting like a blind old incontinent dog by this point. Jesus, He Knows Me, it's actually quite up-tempo, sort of satirical lyrics about televangelists and stuff. We follow that up by one that I think I'll play, Baby Don't Cry, In Excess. Now, they'd had a few kind of rather meh songs, and this was up to top standard again. It's kind of really simple, like ludicrously simple in the chorus, and it's almost repetitive, and it just goes over and over and over. But in a kind of Phil Spector-esque move, they've added a great big orchestra to the whole thing. Yeah. So, quite a different sound for In Excess. Basically orchestral... Is that a word? Orchestral stadium music. But it's nice. It's got nice lyrics. It's one of those cheer-up songs that are always good. Followed up by Antipodeans, or from the other place, New Zealand. It's Only Natural, Crowded House. Yet another good, unobtrusive Crowded House song. Their songs didn't have any gimmicks or anything really, any hooks as such. They're just really good songs. They just sold because they're nice. Followed up by... In fact, no, I say followed up. That's the end of side one. We now move on to side two. And I'm pleased to announce they've gone back to a more dancey side. Although, let's just be honest, some of the songs coming up are very iffy. We start with Erasure, back again. It's a return to form after the ABBA stuff. Who Needs Love Like That? But it's one of their old songs, slightly revamped. So they're not really coming up with new material at this time. Who Needs Love Like That was one of their long run of flops before they finally made it. And it did well. It's probably better than the original, to be honest. Okay, now we come up with another song that really probably defines the summer of 92. Has anyone got any Veras? So the Shaman, I've not really talked about them. We kind of passed over LSI. Brief history of the Shaman. Started off pure psychedelic, as the name would suggest. Plural of a shaman, the shaman. They quite early got into kind of rave and kind of psychedelic dance music. But in terms of their own stuff, it was kind of rocky dance. They had a very tragic accident where one of the founding members, Will, died in an accident while shooting a video. And just the song in question, I think it was Move Any Mountain, became a massive hit. The main guy in it is called Colin Angus, a Scottish guy, and MC is the kind of front man with the rapping. So the vocals are carried out between Colin Angus and Mr. C. And on this one, they kind of went a bit novelty, they went a bit jokey. It's obviously about ecstasy, but they kind of did the whole Ebenezer Good thing. E's are good. Are they? That's a personal decision for you guys to decide. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. If you like them, fair play. If you don't, fair play. I think that's down to you guys as adults. But yeah, this was kind of the only real jokey song they'd do. They'd go back to more sort of serious stuff. It's kind of weird because their other stuff was quite pretentious and kind of pseudo-intellectual. So it was quite random to hear these doing a sort of joke song. Kind of annoying and obnoxious, but kind of meant to be. Bit like, I would say almost they'd followed the KLF thing. How to have a number one the easy way. And it worked. Okay, rave cover of an AOR song now. Bryan Adams' Run to You, done by Rage. Quite successful, actually. Kind of Euro rave. A song that maybe shouldn't work, but does. Yeah, I quite like that. I think it's pretty forgotten. I wouldn't say it's a classic. One that maybe is a lot more remembered. Bizarring, I'm Gonna Get You. Or da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I preferred their previous stuff, like Playing with Knives. This one, it's good. It's got a good kind of skippy beat. And the beats are sort of they're progressing quite a bit now, getting a bit more complicated. Although the vocals are fairly simplistic. One that maybe should have been straight off the Rage, Heaven 17, Temptation, Brothers in Rhythm remix. Original was on Now 1. Here's the obligatory 92 house remix. Pretty successful actually. The song works in this new format. It very much keeps the chords and the melody the same, just updates the beats. And on balance, I probably just prefer this one actually, to be fair. We follow this one up with another 17, from Heaven 17 to E17, House of Love. This was E17's first song. We're in boy band category now, not the target audience. I guess it was pretty good for that kind of thing. It was quite upbeat, kind of rappy, techno-y pop, but yeah, not for me. Right, okay, weird cover now, and not an entirely successful one. It's The Farm and Don't You Want Me, basically the Human League song. I believe it was done for charity, for a good cause, but it's a bit of a dog's dinner. I really like The Farm, and they did some great stuff like Groovy Train and Don't You Want Me. Now, I wasn't going to play this one, but that's ended, and I might as well. Now we've got Undercover and Never Let Her Slip Away. Basically this is another cover. I think the original was by Andrew Gold. And it's yet another AOR song done in a kind of housey way. They had a big hit with Baker Street. Again, it's okay, actually. It's pretty respectful of the original song. Good vocals. It's kind of cheesy. It's pop dance. It's not rave. But it's alright. It's very 92. We follow this one. Now, a very, very strange song. I'll play a little bit of it. Dr. Spin. Actually, no, I won't play it. I don't want to break the speakers. Check this one out. Dr. Spin, Tetris. Basically, Game Boys were out now, and Tetris was here, there, and everywhere. I used to love it. I think I was pretty good. And Dr. Spin, I'm sure it was the same guys behind the Timmy Mallet Bomb Ballerina stuff, because it had all the same kind of samples, and they just put it. It was like 2 Unlimited doing a Tetris music, pretty naff, jokey novelty song, and that was followed up by another one of the same ilk, the Ambassadors of Funk and MC Mario, Super Mario Land. So, if nothing else, culturally, I think this album marks the point where gaming, even just even things like Game Boys, were actually having an influence on kind of popular culture. Super Mario Land, probably slightly less annoying than Tetris. I actually prefer the tune. Followed up by How Do You Do by Roxette. Same old, same old, same old. You know, I don't want to hate on them because obviously it's Marie's death. It's still very fresh in our minds, but not one of their best. Okay, still in Sweden now, and another re-release, ABBA. One of the more unlikely comebacks for 92. Well, they didn't come back as a band, but I think, was it the musical? Just all things ABBA. We'd had Erasure, so ABBA Dancing Queen came out again. Absolute wedding disco classic. Possibly one of the most famous ABBA songs of all time. I'm interested to see the stats, actually. I don't really feel like playing it. I'm not in the mood. I do like it if I am in the mood, i.e. a wedding disco, but I'm not in that zone right now. I just want to see how many stats it's got on the statistics. 409 million. So only half Bohemian Rhapsody, but 409, 500 million views. That's pretty good. And very cleverly, they follow that up with Bjorn Again. Now, this is very postmodern, very surreal. On the last album, we had Erasure doing an ABBA song. We've just had ABBA and Dancing Queen. Now we've got Bjorn Again, an ABBA tribute band, doing an Erasure song. A Little Respect. Very, very clever. Unfortunately, I didn't like that Erasure song, so the last thing I want to hear is an ABBA version of it. But that's, interesting. It's a tribute band, maybe the first tribute band to make it now. And I guess it's kind of natural. We've had all these covers, we've had all these remixes and stuff. So yeah, weird that Bjorn again would be doing an Erasure song, but there we go. Now, I'm going to play another weird kind of take on old music. This is a new song in an old style. It's Vanessa Paradis, who we'd last heard of with Joe Taxi, and probably, thought that would be the last we'd ever hear of her. But she's gone and got herself hitched to Lenny Kravitz, who's had a remarkable couple of years. Not made a now yet, but he's been really big. He's on production here and songwriting. And it's Be My Baby. Obviously a Phil Spector tribute, that name. And it sounds like it as well. So basically doing a Phil Spector thing. I just hope he didn't go out and shoot anyone. And it works. Her voice works really well. Certainly doesn't sound 92. Really, really got the production values right for a 60s tune. Nice strings. No cheesy synths. It sounds very organic. Yeah, nice. Pleasant surprise after a load of novelty songs. Now another weird one I've not heard for a while now. Betty Boo, Let Me Take You There. Which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, used samples from Four Tops. It's all in the game. It's a great song. And this is a pretty good song for Betty Boo. It was a pretty successful comeback in and of itself. I don't think it really led anywhere. But she'd updated the sound. It was a kind of summery, beachy kind of sound. And yeah, it's pretty good. We follow that up with another good song, Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover, Sophie B. Hawkins. Which is basically a new rock song, but they've got the kind of When the Levee Breaks sample in there, so it's still kind of sampley, a good synthesis of rock and kind of electronica, very odd lyrics, very kind of Oedipal, seems like she's in love with her mum or something, weird lyrics. We follow that up with another kind of psychodrama, Digging in the Dirt. Peter Gabriel's back. With another very, very epic song, epic video, very kind of dark, psychological lyrics. Really good song, as you'd expect from Peter Gabriel. And then we've got Enya, Book of Days, just Enya being Enya. Say no more. If you like Enya, you'll love it. Crying, as if you've seen Only Fools and Horses, Crying. It's Roy Orbison and KD Lang. I think it's her introduction to one of these. Really good version, actually. This is Roy Orbison at his best. I love the song. It's a standard. And Roy Orbison and KD Lang do a great version of it. Finally, another song that's already been on a Now album. So it's a bit weird from repeating themselves. Barcelona. It was only yesterday, I feel. It's like I was talking about it on Now 10. It's rounding things off. Another post-Freddie's death sort of cash-in, re-release. So now 23, there's an awful lot of sort of cash-in stuff here. I do feel that pop music's gone a bit, it's eating itself, to be honest. This is what pop will eat itself meant. And I think Bjorn again is absolutely a kind of example of that. That said, it's not without its delights. Tasmin Archer, Sleeping Satellite. I think Would I Lie to You's one of the better number ones of the 90s, Charles and Eddie. Shake Your Head is a quirky artifact. Iron Lion's Iron, genuinely classic Bob Marley. People Every Day, very good, very interesting song. Arrested Development, obviously a re-release, but Take a Little Piece of My Heart. Boom Boom, John Lee Hooker, classic blues. What else is really classic? Blah, blah, blah. Not that many. I'm going to Get You semi-classic. Lots and lots of novelty songs. And then maybe that, Be My Baby. All right, so one of the weakest so far, really. I like it, but it's a bit kind of novelty-ish, and a lot of the jokes aren't really that funny anymore. So let's see if Now for 24 is any better. All right, thank you very much indeed.